What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the COTACast. My name is Brian Bermudez, and I'm the host of the Craft of the Air podcast, the aviation podcast that expands your knowledge in each and every episode. Join us as we explore the untold world of aviation together. I'm so glad that you guys are tuned in for another episode. This is an episode that we're diving into human factors, and it's a very interesting topic. Because human factors is something that, after working on a couple of projects this week on the campus, with the FAA's revision of the ACS and the curriculum for aviation maintenance students, human factors is just such a big part of the curriculum now, man. And not just for students and professionals in aviation maintenance. When you think about it, human factors and accidents and incidents at airports is something that we're regularly seeing now on the daily basis in social media, in the news outlets, the major news outlets, and it's something that's worth speaking about. I had a couple of students that separately, individually on separate days, separately, it wasn't a plan, or at least I don't think it was, brought up this topic as I'm on campus, brought up the topic of human factors and asked me a couple of questions about it. And it's definitely something that we're going to continue to see more information and knowledge being brought out by the FAA, better protocols, training and recognition, and all these types of things coming in as light is being shed on human factors in aviation, not just aviation maintenance, but really, our pilots. We think about our pilots, we think about our flight crew, and we think about everybody that works in aviation maintenance, and human factors is certainly something that is worth shedding more light on, in my opinion. Now we're going to dive into all of that. First things first, today's episode of the COTACast is brought to you by Craft of the Air. Are you stuck on ideas? Are you looking to facilitate and make really significant moves in aviation maintenance? You're going to have to check out Craft of the Air. Craft of the Air has consulting. We have aviation maintenance, general aviation, and tutoring by a live certified A&P subject matter expert. Is going to ensure that you're fully prepared, fully briefed. I mean, you name it, project reports, analytics, and cutting edge maintenance on your jet. Everything. It's your first and only stop for aviation maintenance. It's your personal aviation maintenance assistant in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, CT. You're going to have to check out that website, www.craftoftheair.com. Again, that's www.craftoftheair.com. Craft of the Air, our craft is of the air. So now, I don't know where the script is actually for that opening line, but it's interesting. We dive into it. We're sponsored by Craft of the Air on this episode of the COTACast, the 50th episode of the COTACast. Wow. Time has really gone by on this endeavor into a podcast video cast. But in today's episode 50, we're speaking about human factors. It's really where we have the aircraft and these complex precision machines meeting the complexity of human behavior. What is human factors, or what are human factors in aviation maintenance? We speak about the challenges, some of the innovations, and really some devastating accidents in the history of aviation that have hopefully, and some of them, and hopefully more of them will start paving the way for improved human factors, training, recognition. But now, what exactly are human factors, and how do they play such a pivotal role in aviation maintenance? Some people that may not be, aware of human factors, at least in aviation maintenance. And then really how have our understandings and approaches evolved over time from those, earlier days. When we look at the history, really the earlier days were really trial and error. Have we, moved on from this trial and error phase? More importantly, A really crucial question is, are we doing enough to address the human element in maintaining the aircraft that fly across our skies? Now, before 1988, the FAA really had no, involvement with human factors. Since 1988, the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, they formally engaged in addressing the critical issues of human error in aviation. And interestingly enough, the key to really enhancing aircraft safety in the future, it lies not just with these technological advances, but more with the fundamental aspect. Educating employees on recognizing and preventing human errors. Data from accident analysis revealed that, and this is a startling fact, about 75 to 80% of aviation accidents stem from human error. Roughly about 12% were linked to maintenance-related issues. And while we have errors made by pilots, and they often result in an immediate and a visible consequence, when we speak about aviation maintenance, these are usually more Latin, manifesting over time, and that distinction really underscores the importance of focusing on human factors in aviation maintenance. Ron LaFora, a PhD with the FAA, he said, quote, "Human factors are concerned with optimizing performance, including reducing errors so that the highest level of safety is achieved and maintained," end quote. And when you look at the FAA Handbook 8083-25, that's the pilot's handbook for aeronautic knowledge, quote, human factors is, quote, the study of how people interact with environments. And that's exactly what we're speaking about here. Understanding why human conditions like fatigue, complacency, stress, they're all crucial in aviation maintenance, and they're key to enhancing safety. These elements, collectively known as human factors, they play a significant role in aviation incidents. In fact, it's widely acknowledged that around 80% of maintenance errors are influenced by these factors. Now, the challenges with these errors made by aviation maintenance engineers, when I wrote this, I wrote aviation maintenance technicians. That's disrespectful. Don't call us that. The challenges with errors made by aviation maintenance professionals is they're often undetectable by nature. This is the problem that we have. Unlike other aviation safety threats, these mistakes can remain hidden, silently compromising the aircraft safety over extended and sustained periods of time. It's particularly concerning given this unique set of human factors that aviation maintenance professionals face. What do we face? Working crazy hours. The human is not designed to work in the nighttime overnight while the whole world is sleeping. Odd hours. AMEs are in confined or elevated spaces, claustrophobic spaces for sustained periods of time, and under varying temperature and humidity conditions. It is absolutely freezing at some airports during the winter time. And at some airport, it is, ungodly hot and humid. These are most of the time 10-hour and 12-hour shifts through the evening that these aircraft maintenance engineers are working. The physical demands of the job are really compounded by the need for this very meticulous attention to detail that we must have. And moreover, the nature of these tasks that AMEs are doing means spending more time preparing for the task than actually executing the task itself. This complex environment, it highlights, and really when you think about it, it highlights this critical need for addressing human factors in aviation maintenance, but not only for the safety of the aircraft, but what are we all thinking about when I'm saying this? The well-being of the technicians themselves too. I'm getting very adamant. It's been 2 weeks since I had an episode. Given it took a long time to write this one. Given these intricate challenges faced by aviation maintenance technicians, there's one critical question that emerges. How can the aviation industry better support aircraft maintenance engineers in mitigating these human factor risks? This opens the door to really exploring these possible innovative solutions. What I mean by that, such as advanced safety training programs, ergonomic work environments, enhanced safety protocols. When I speak about these things, these are measures. And these measures not only aim to reduce this incidence of human error, but they also ensure the mental and the physical well-being of technicians, engineers. Ultimately, it's the goal. When you think about it, ultimately, is really the goal is to foster this culture where safety is paramount. And every individual is equipped with the tools and the knowledge to contribute effectively to that overall mission. Easier said than done, especially in a lot of work environments. The answer to this question not only has the potential to revolutionize aviation maintenance practices, but it also significantly elevate the overall safety standards in aviation maintenance. Now, we think about human factors, and what are human factors? Do we really know what human factors are in aviation maintenance? The term human factors has gained significant traction in commercial aviation. As I mentioned before, particularly it's become increasingly clear that human error is the primary contributor to most aviation accidents. A lot of people don't want to hear it, but this human error factor is the contributing factor to most aviation accidents and incidents, more so than mechanical failures. This when you think about it, this field includes, multiple disciplines. What do I mean by that? I'm thinking about psychology, the psychology, the engineering, the industrial design, the statistics, the operations research. All of these things, they delve into the understanding of the human capabilities. And this really applies to the knowledge and to the design and implementation to various systems and services. Crucial aspect in human factors is this integration of these principles into aviation maintenance, into the environment of aviation maintenance. That's assuring the effective applications. For aviation maintenance engineers, when you think about it, the ability to solve problems quickly and efficiently, it can not only just be quickly and efficiently is paramount. AMEs, they're routinely faced with situations that require immediate troubleshooting and immediate responses. A lot of people cannot handle that type of job on the daily basis. I'm sorry to say it, but most people will crack under pressure. This immediate troubleshooting, responses, and solutions. This process can be both mentally and physically demanding and draining. This constant pressure can unfortunately, and when you think about this, because this is a pressure, when you think about this pressure, unfortunately, it can lead to significant stresses. This is really illustrating the need for incorporating the human factor considerations, and not just for the equipment and procedures, but also for the overall work environments and the well-being of maintenance personnel. Understanding and addressing these factors is essential in creating a safer and a more efficient, that's what owners and operators want to hear, more efficient, but for everybody wants to hear this, a less stressful maintenance workflow. We look at the history of human factors, and it must be examined. This concept of human factors, it evolves significantly over time, despite what some industry professionals may say, or by their standards. You're going back to World War One. Initially before World War One, human machine capability, it was accessed through this simple, it was trial and error when you think about it. And this approach, it shifted. Notably when you think about it during the American Civil War. With when you think about the U.S. Patents Office, they started focusing on the usability and the mass-produced military equipment. And World War I and World War II were really these turning points, really highlighting the need to understand human capabilities, and really the limitations of humans in operating and working on these complex machines. This really led to the establishment, so to say, of the specialized aeronautic laboratories. And in these aeronautic laboratories in the U.S., significant research was performed. This was crucial. There was a company called Fritz and Jones, and they did a study on control knob configurations. And if you look into it, this was a very big leap and step forward. Post World War II, when you look at it, despite the advances, many of the insights into group dynamics and the flight crew communications, they were overlooked. And really, when you look at the Vietnam conflict, this marked a shift towards systematic error reduction in aviation. What do I mean by that? You're introducing something called, quote, zero defects, end quote. And zero defects quality programs, but it is also, quality program, but it was a less effective top-down management strategy. Now, moving into the 70s and 80s, late 70s into the late 80s, 1978 to 1988 brought really further changes and challenging maintenance departments with a lot of mergers during this time. Staff reductions come with this. And yet the approach to human factors in aviation maintenance, it remained, largely outdated. The 1990s, a cultural shift amongst these U.S. carriers. It really recognized the importance of human factors. And in the 90s, it's really led to changes in management. Had to be, And not only management, we had so many changes to the communications and the organizational structure of these U.S. carriers in the 90s. And, when you think back on it, examples like Continental Airlines, they introduced the CRM, the type training. United Airlines, they restructured the inspection roles. And really though, the challenges remain. They remain, you know, we speak so much about active and latent errors and these communication breakdowns and the complacency of newer technicians, even older technicians that have maybe done a task so many times that they become complacent. You know, we have inadequate knowledge, you know, distractions, lack of teamwork, fatigue. There are so many parameters involved. The United Kingdom Civil Aviation Authority, CAA, they identified the common maintenance errors, and there's a list there, but most of them stem from, get this, incorrect installation of components and electrical wiring issues. You know, it really highlights this ongoing concern in human factors in aviation maintenance. Now, this leads us into the alarming portion of this episode. And you know, when we speak about it, we speak about accidents that have occurred as a result of human factors. And that's something that nobody in aviation wants to be a part of. We want to prevent and mitigate this risk as best as possible at any time, every second that we're on the shift. You know, going back to March 20th, 2001, you know, this is a Lufthansa Airbus. It's an A320. And this A320 almost crashed shortly after takeoff because of a reversed wiring in the captain's side stick flight control. This is, for those of you not familiar with this, the side stick in the bus, in the Airbus, is what's actually controlling the flight control surfaces or sending the input to our servos. You know, quick action by the co-pilot, whose side stick was not fully faulted or not inoperative or faulted out, it prevented this crash. You know, the investigation focused on the maintenance, and the captain's controls were carried out by a Lufthansa engineer. And this was just before the flight. And during the previous flight, a problem with one or two of the elevators were written up. So this had happened. An electrical pin in the connector was found to be damaged, and it was replaced, but incorrectly. You know, these types of things, this is a routine maintenance task, a routine write-up. We look at Alaska Airlines, you know, and Alaska Airlines, Flight 261, always tough to read about that one. You know, firsthand working for Alaska, what a great company, a great groups all over that airline. Really enjoy that, and it really sad. Alaska Airlines Flight 261 was the result of human factors. This MD-83 aircraft experienced a fatal accident. This was on January 31st, the year 2000, and in the Pacific Ocean, the 2 pilots, 3 cabin crew members, and 83 passengers on board were all killed, and the aircraft was unfortunately destroyed. And the subsequent investigation by the NTSB determined that inadequate maintenance led to excessive wear and catastrophic failure of critical flight control systems during flight, actually caused by a jack screw assembly. And there was actually a fatigue crack in that. You know, human factors. If a technician would have went and physically inspected that jack screw, that aircraft would have stayed on the ground or would have been repaired. You know, looking into other, you know, incidents, when we look at, you know, Airbus, another Airbus 320, and this one was in August 26, 1993, and this Airbus A320, it took off from London Gatwick Airport, and it exhibited really this undemanded roll to the right during takeoff, a condition which it persisted until the aircraft landed back at London Gatwick, runway 30. And this is about 40 minutes, you know. Now, interesting, when they go to investigate this on this incident, this was by a flight control system and a loss of a spoiler control. And this was something that was maintenance related at the time. You know, May 25th, 2002, China Airlines Flight 611, and this was a Boeing 747, Queen of the Sky, it broke up into pieces midair and it crashed, killing all 225 people on board. And that accident was the result of metal fatigue caused by inadequate maintenance after a previous incident. August 26, 2003, Cologne Air Beach, a 1900D crashed just after takeoff from Massachusetts. Both pilots were killed, and this was due to improper replacement of the forward elevator trim cable and subsequent inadequate functional check of the maintenance that was performed. September 28th, 2007, we could just keep going on and on. American Airlines Flight 1400, DC-9, experienced an in-flight engine fire during departure. This was out of Lambert, St. Louis International Airport, and during the return to the STL, the nose landing gear failed to extend. The flight crew executed a go-around during which the crew extended the nose gear using the emergency procedure. And they conducted an emergency landing and they deplaned on the runway. Now, American Airlines personnel, they used the incorrect manual for the engine starting procedure. And this led to an uncommanded opening of the left engine air turbine starter valve. And really, it also led to a subsequent, engine failure of the turbine. These are all examples of incidents that have occurred in aviation, specifically aviation maintenance, due to, human factors. And in the realm of aviation maintenance, understanding these current challenges is crucial. Is crucial. This understanding is not only going to highlight the progress, but it's also going to shed more light on these areas that require future improvements. It's the only way. The aviation industry faces an intricate blend of these new technologies that are coming into play and these practices that are somewhat evolving. We have such a diverse workforce. It's phenomenal. But each of these elements presents a unique challenge. What do I mean by that? For instance, we have the integration of advanced digital systems and aircraft maintenance that's going to demand a higher level of technical proficiency. And and what comes with that is continuous learning amongst maintenance personnel. Now, as we begin to wrap up this episode, it seems that we have so many challenges, but with all of these challenges comes innovation. The industry has seen a significant shift towards more ergonomic tools. I spoke about training, advanced training simulators are being used now. Comprehensive safety management systems. These are the innovations that are going to aim to reduce this human error. We need to enhance work environments for aircraft maintenance professionals. Continue to improve training methods. Virtual reality, for instance, has really become so increasingly utilized for training purposes across so many industries. And really, when you speak about VR, it may offer a safe and an immersive environment for technicians to hone these skills. VR really gives them the chance to hone these skills without the risks associated with these on-the-job trainings. And moreover, when you look at airlines, And maintenance organizations, they're beginning to invest in these AI-driven predictive maintenance tools. These tools are looking to aid in identifying potential issues before they escalate into serious issues or catastrophic issues. When I think about it too, you also need to encourage a proactive approach, right? It's essential for aviation professionals to kind of adopt a proactive approach towards all of these human factor challenges. Really emphasizing on continuous learning and embracing newer technologies, because let's be honest, a lot of older technicians or older generations may not be so keen or so receptive to these newer technologies or newer methods, so to say. It's adapting to changing protocols, making sure that we have ways to mitigate the risks associated with human factors in aviation maintenance, and looking forward towards the future, this, as we come towards kind of the end here of episode 50, it's clear that this field, aviation maintenance, it's not just about the tools and the technology, my friend. It's about the people. It's about their skills, their limitations, and really the crucial role that they play in ensuring the safety of every single flight. From the earlier days to those rudimentary trial and error methods to the sophisticated multidisciplinary approaches of today, we've seen how much the understanding and the management of human factors has evolved. It's become the cornerstone of aviation safety. This episode has revealed the complexities faced by aviation maintenance technicians, the pressure of time, the challenges of the technology, the ever-present need for clear communication, teamwork. But we've also highlighted the continuous need for innovation, training, safety, this safety-first culture. It's a relentless pursuit of excellence in aviation safety, my friend. In closing, we let's always remember that really with every safe landing, it's not just a feat of engineering, but also really a testament to the dedication and the skill of aviation maintenance professionals. Their work often unseen, it's fundamental in the seamless journey of every aircraft. And as we continue to soar into this journey, we must ensure that human factors in aviation maintenance remains a priority. For they are really, truly, when you think about it, it's truly the heart of a safe sky. That about wraps it up for this. I'm just improvising here. This is unedited, one script. I had some students coming in. I try to find the quiet lab, and someone always finds me. That wraps it up for this episode of COTACast. Guys, if you haven't done so already, you're going to have to check out that Craft of the Air website. It's literally everything that you need in the field of aviation maintenance, with tutoring, consulting, and general aviation maintenance in the CT, NJ, and NY area. It's your one-stop shop, my friends. Visit www.craftoftheair.com. Again, that's www.craftoftheair.com. We probably know a guy. That wraps it up for this. Guys, if you haven't done so already, you're going to want to subscribe to that Craft of Their Instagram. We've been staying away from the Instagram. I actually get sick of Instagram, so sorry. You're going to have to subscribe to the Instagram for the latest updates, of course. But really, you're going to have to check out that YouTube channel and subscribe. That's where all the COTACast episodes and updates are coming from. And everything you need to know about the COTACast and Craft of the Air, all the information, all the good stuff is there where you need it. Thanks again for listening to today's episode of the COTACast. I hope you guys have a great week. Be safe, and we'll be seeing you soon.